NASCAR Coast to Coast, presented by Hercules Tire.
60 minutes of local, regional, and touring series interviews, news, and opinion. Now a couple of guys who think they'd make a great boy band. Kyle, Ricky, and Buddy Law.
Bonsignore bounces back at Riverhead. McCarty claims one of the tightest championship races of the season in the NASCAR Wheelin' All-American Series. And Balcaen makes history at Motor Mile. Welcome to NASCAR Coast to Coast for Wednesday, August 30th, 2016. Kyle, Ricky, and Buddy along with you for the next hour as we talk NASCAR short track racing. Why the smirk?
You couldn't get my name right almost. Did you almost forget?
A little bit.
Really?
Yeah, no, not really.
Okay.
Hard to believe we're wrapping up the season. A couple of championship battles decided this past weekend. I guess that would be the second weekend in a row here that tracks are beginning to shut down, and I think I counted 6 more championship nights this coming weekend.
It's a very, very exciting time of year. It's sad because the season's winding down, but a lot of titles that are very close in the Wheelin' All-American Series. A lot of short tracks. I mean, titles that are down to single digits for a lot of different tracks. One of those we'll talk to today, but some great battles coming right down to the wire. It's a good time for NASCAR Coast to Coast fans.
Absolutely. Going to be fun here in the next couple of months as we wrap up the season and talk to many of the champions that will be crowned at short tracks across the country and on the NASCAR Touring Series, including the NASCAR Wheelin' Modified Tour. They were back in action this past weekend, Riverhead Raceway. Justin Bonsignore back in the winner's circle, his 4th win at Riverhead, 2nd of the year. And, man, what a roller coaster the last 3 weeks have been for Justin. Got that first win of the year at Thompson, slammed the wall at Bristol a week or so later, early in the event, losing a lot of points, then right back up to the top of the mountain this past weekend at Riverhead Raceway.
What a great victory. It was his 100th appearance on the NASCAR Wheelin' Modified Tour to win it at the track where he has grown up around, not far in Holtsville, New York, actually. And winning the 2011 championship there, and also beating a couple of drivers that he grew up with. Timmy and Sean Salamino ran karts together for many years. They ran at Riverhead Raceway as well, and just good things all the way around, and has made this battle for the Wheelin' Modified Tour Championship a very tight battle going right down to the wire.
Justin Bonsignore claimed the win over Timmy Salamino. Sean Salamino, a third-place effort, a regular at the Riverhead Raceway each and every Saturday night, as is Tom Rogers Jr., who finished in 4th. Chase Dallin rounding out the top 5. Jimmy Blewett, a good run there for the Mystic Missile, finishing in 6th. Craig Lutz 7th. Max Zackum 8th. Frank Vigliarolo in 9th. And Eric Goodale rounding out the top 10. A great field of 29 cars, but with a lot of race cars comes a lot of cautions, a season-high 10 cautions for that event at Riverhead. So we'll talk to Justin coming up a little bit about that and the physical nature of that race this past Saturday night, and looking for a championship. He's closed within 13 points on Doug Coby, the closest it's been for a while because Coby finished outside of the top 10.
And now they head to what could be the neutralizer tracks, especially this weekend at Oswego Speedway, a track that has the same dimensions as Thompson Speedway Motorsports Park, but how close are they? How familiar are they in size and stature as far as their banking and a variety of other things? 27 years since that tour has been there. There have been modified races. The Race of Champions Series runs there, but most of the drivers that are on this tour, if not all of them, have never been there before. I mean, maybe Teddy Christopher, who is not on the schedule, but, you're looking at the Brian Rosses, Mike McLaughlin's, you're looking at Mike Stefanik's, Tony Hirschman's. These are the drivers that scored the victories back in the day when they were running there. So this is going to be a huge race in the battle for the points championship.
One of the modifieds ran there back in 88, 89. It was like 4 times a year. They went to Oswego, and then suddenly the track fell off the map on the NASCAR Wheelin' Modified Tour schedule. Tony Hirschman, the last winner there back in 1989. They go back there for the first time since that race this coming weekend. And you're right, 5/8 of a mile, but I think that's about the only dimension that is the same between those two racetracks as far as the length is concerned in the banking. So Justin Bonsignore will join us to talk about that coming up here in a little bit. Ronnie McCarty will join us here. We talked about a lot of these close point battles. Kingsport Speedway and Kingsport, Tennessee wrapped up their season. Probably the tightest among the most drivers. 4 drivers within, I believe, 22 points at the checkered flag on their season.
Yeah, I mean, it came down to a battle between I believe Zeke Shell was right up there. Only 4 points was the gap. Wayne Hale, another driver that does very well on the Wheelin' All-American Series, and Cress Van Dyke, who has been on our show in the past and has done very well at both Kingsport and Lonesome Pine Speedways. Very, very good tight point battle going right down to the wire. Ronnie McCarty successfully defending his title.
By 4 points?
4 points.
So it doesn't get much closer than that. That's about 2 positions on the racetrack.
Yeah.
So for Ronnie McCarty, we'll talk to him coming up here in a little bit. Grew up at the Kingsport Speedway, a former Legends champion there, and now his second consecutive track championship at Kingsport. And also another driver that'll join us on the show, a driver that's been in the news a lot here in the last couple of weeks after her second-place finish 2 weeks ago at Motor Mile, and then backed it up with a race win. Amber Balcaen from Winnipeg, Canada, coming down to race stock cars after growing up in sprint cars, finally got to victory lane this past weekend.
Spent the better part of her life on the dirt track side. Another pupil of Lee Pulliam, of course, Julia Landauer being the driver above or before Amber, and has done very well in the NASCAR Can-Am Pro Series West, but again making history by virtue of her victory because of her nationality, because of her status as a female driver, becoming the first Canadian female to win a NASCAR Touring Series race or a NASCAR division race in the United States. So that's big. And in the midst of a very tight point battle, I mean, it's not like they've got a ton of cars in that class, but you only need 2 to make it interesting. They usually have 7 to 10 that are there. And there was 2 drivers that are fighting for a limited sportsman championship, of which she's third in. And she not only had to fend off the driver, one of them, that was battling for that championship, but the other one that's also fighting for the title overall. So it was a pretty good night for her.
And she is currently third in points. They have just one event left. I think it's going to be hard for her to win the championship.
Yes,
I believe she's
yes.
48 points back, and you can only get 50 over the course of the night. So it'd be hard for her to win the title, but we'll see if she defines this season as a success so far, being third in the points. Amber Balcaen will join us here in a little bit here on NASCAR Coast to Coast. There was another NASCAR touring event over the weekend, the NASCAR Can-Am Pro Series West. They were in action, and again, Ryan Partridge picking up the race win in the Toyota Napa Auto Parts 150 at the Douglas County Speedway, a relatively new venue for the Tour. And Partridge holding off Grayson Raz, Riley Herbst, Noah Gregson, and you mentioned Julia Landauer a moment ago, the driver for Lee Pulliam last year at Motor Mile. Gets another top 5 in the West. Todd Gilliland and Chris Eggleston came together while racing for the lead midway through the event, finished 6th and 7th, while Blaine Perkins, Ron Norman, and Nicole Behar back on the Tour here late in the season gets a top 10.
And the points battle gets a little bit tighter. Partridge is now down by 12 to Todd Gilliland. They have a doubleheader coming up at the road course at Utah Motorsports Campus coming up the weekend of September 10th and 11th. And between them and the Whelen Euro Series, I think they are the only 2 touring series that won't be running this upcoming weekend. Labor Day weekend is going to have at least 4 of our NASCAR touring series that will be in action, so it should be fun.
Including the NASCAR Whelen Southern Modified Tour. They'll be back in action. Mentioned the Modified Tour up north, the NASCAR Can-Am Pro Series East. They're in action at Greenville Pickens Speedway on Monday, a different date than usual. And we get to see the NASCAR Canadian Tire Series this weekend.
Back up.
NASCAR Pinty Series this weekend up in Canada at Canadian Tire Motorsports
it's easy
Park.
to say that when you know you're going to Canadian Tire Motorsport Park.
Right.
I understand that.
Going to be fun. And hopefully we can sneak away to see a brand new NASCAR home track.
That would be great.
About an hour away from the hotel on Saturday night. Sunset Speedway wrapping up their season. We've talked a lot about
Taylor Holdaway.
Taylor Holdaway, thank you. Taylor Holdaway, last couple of seasons running for a national championship, and he's running for a track championship up there this weekend, and they're running double features on Saturday night.
Yeah, it would be cool because a lot of times when we go to our NASCAR weekends, whether it be trucks, Xfinity, or Cup, you know, you can't always catch the short tracks. Like when we go to Bristol for the Wednesday night truck race, you'd love to go to Kingsport,
right?
But they're not open on that particular weekend. When we go to Vegas later this year for the truck race, the Bull Ring pretty much is going to be done maybe about the week before. So we're always missing out on some of the short tracks that we'd like to go to. So if we can make it to Sunset, that'd be pretty good.
And I've told Hannah at Las Vegas over and over again, you have to run the short track the night before the truck race.
You do. It would be a great promotional deal,
Absolutely.
and she knows that. She's got some pull out there. Make it happen.
It's right there on the same property. You
Exactly.
literally drive into the tunnel and you have to go by the short track. It's like a tease for us every time we go out there. It's going to be a busy show. Coming up here in just a few moments, Justin Bonsignore will be our first guest here on NASCAR Coast to Coast.
NASCAR Coast to Coast will be right back on MRN.com.
I'm Steve Letarte for STP. As a former crew chief, I know about winning and what it takes to keep your engine performing at its best. That's why I recommend STP Ultra 5-in-1 Fuel System Cleaner. STP Ultra 5-in-1 Fuel System Cleaner is STP's most advanced fuel additive. It's been formulated to help remove harmful deposits from intake valves and restore fuel injector performance. For more than 60 years, STP products have proven themselves mile after mile. Take it from me, if you want to go with a winner, go with STP. In for the long haul.
From work life to nightlife, from home to the road, your day can take you anywhere. These fast-paced times call for Wrangler Advanced Comfort jeans. Advanced Comfort is designed to keep up with you, no matter where you go or what you're doing. They're made with 20% stronger denim and 4-way flex technology that moves with you. Wrangler Advanced Comfort. Go anywhere, look great, and be comfortable. Wrangler Advanced Comfort jeans. Try on a pair today.
Get all the reactions and latest word from the track immediately following each race weekend on MRN's Motorsports Monday with Woody Kane and Joey Meyer.
Johnny Sauter drives the number 21 Chevrolet Silverado.
I didn't know that necessarily we'd been first race of the year.
Log on to MRN.com every Monday at noon Eastern or stream the program from the MRN Media Center on demand. It's MRN Motorsports Monday, only on the Motor Racing Network.
This is NASCAR K&N Pro Series East driver Harrison Burton, and you're listening to NASCAR Coast to Coast on MRN.com. Now back to Kyle and Buddy.
All right, thank you very much, Harrison. Welcome back to NASCAR Coast to Coast here on the Motor Racing Network and MRN.com. Kyle, Ricky, and Buddy along with you. And 2 weeks ago from right now, we were broadcasting live at the Bristol Motor Speedway, preparing for the modified race later that night.
Really?
We were. Time flies when you're having fun. And 2 weeks ago, probably right now at this very moment, Justin Bonsignore was one of our guests. And man, oh man, has he been on a roller coaster ever since that time. Justin, welcome back to NASCAR Coast to Coast. 2 weeks ago, you were with us talking about your win at Thompson. And how a lot has transpired in the time since. First off, let's put Bristol behind us. We saw the big impact. The race was televised a couple of nights ago. Those that were there live probably felt the impact off of turn number 4. What happened during that incident?
Well, it's a pleasure to be back on, especially so soon. It usually means we're doing things good. But,
That's right.
yeah, it's been quite the roller coaster since we seen each other last. And Bristol was a tough one, obviously, as everybody saw on TV and at the track. But we ended up having a part failure on the left front, just something out of control and bad luck. And it broke the lower control arm on the left front and buried the left front wheel going in the right direction. Pretty much at full speed on impact. Thank God for safer barriers, SONS devices, all the safety equipment that NASCAR makes us spend money on, and it was well worth it because aside from being a little sore for a few days, I'm all right. And that was definitely a hard impact. I don't even think I ever got out of the throttle before I was in the wall. So definitely a tough one. Big roller coasters the last couple of weeks, but we bounced back strong, so that's always good.
You did indeed, and of course, if history's any indicator from last year, you've got the championship because Doug Coby wrecked at Bristol early and made a just great run through the field to win this title. You're within 13 already after a great run at Riverhead Raceway. You guys did bounce back in a big way. And how special, being that it was your 100th race with the Tour, that number one, it was at Riverhead Raceway, but you also were able to come away with a victory over a couple of your buddies and Timmy and Sean Salamino, who you have grown up racing with for many years.
Yeah, it was definitely really cool. I wish the correlation between last year for Doug and this year would be that easy. Obviously, it's going to be extremely tough the rest of the way. Fortunately for us, we do have 2 extra races compared to what he had last year as far as making a comeback. But we were able to get a good chunk of it the other night. You never wish bad luck on people. We've had our fair share to give away some points, and the other night, Doug, unfortunately for him, had a little bit of a rough night, and we were able to get back about almost 20 points. So, that's what we're going to have to do. We're going to have max points every week to outrun these guys. We got a couple new tracks on the schedule coming up that I feel we'll run really good at. And then we're going to have to do our homework a little bit to get a little better at Loudon and Stafford to outrun them guys. So we got to make a big push in these next 2 weeks to do what we can because we know he's going to be really tough at the next 2. And if it comes down to Thompson, that could be a hell of a race to watch because the 2 of us have been really good there the last couple of years, and that'd be fun. But, getting back to Riverhead, that was a good night for us. We qualified 7th. We ended up starting 5th because somebody had an unapproved adjustment. Just kind of hung out in the top 5 or 6 for the first 30 or 40 laps. Car was just, a little too tight to make any moves. And we ended up going from 6th to about 2nd in 4 or 5 laps, thanks to a couple guys in front of us getting together and making a big hole. And from there, I rode in 2nd, just kind of seeing what Timmy's car was doing. I knew I was still too tight at the time to make a good run, and I think it was like the second or third restart. I was on the outside of them, and just got a really good launch down into turn one, and they spray the track there similar to what they do at Bristol. They spray the outside group to try and help the weekly guys racing, and I was able to get really good drive up off the top, and then from there just kind of muscled my way down and got the lead, and then from there just trying to do whatever I could to hold on to the lead. We were a little too tight on the restarts to be able to hold those guys off easily, but once the race got singled out and we could run our groove, our car was really good, had a lot of drive, which is something you always need at Riverhead to be able to win a 200 lapper there. So it was a nice way to bounce back. Just hopefully we can keep some solid momentum and not have any blips on the radar like Bristol.
Any close calls for you at Riverhead? Seemed like a very physical race. 10 cautions, ties the season high from earlier this year at Waterford. Were things physical for you at the front of the field?
Yeah, like I said, on the restarts, it's always pretty physical. Everybody's jockeying for position as much as you could, and Riverhead's been notorious for many years now to kind of use the guys up on the restarts on the outside of you to make sure you hold your position, and definitely no angel in that department. I did what I had to do to hold the guys off, knowing I had such a good car once we could get back in line. And these races are so tough to win, you can't give them away at all. And we were fortunate to be on one of the easier ends of it, getting to the front so quick. I did, watch some video of the middle of the pack and, even the back half of the top 5 or 6, and they were definitely mixing it up pretty hard back there. So fortunate for us, we qualified good, and we were able to get to the front quick and not have to deal with any of that.
And for those that did not have a chance to be at Riverhead, ourselves included, you'll have a chance to catch it this Thursday, September 1st at 7 p.m. on NBCSN. You mentioned some of the new tracks that are on the schedule, one of those being this weekend at the Oswego Speedway. Sort of a neutralizer to a degree. It does have the same length as Thompson Speedway Motorsports Park, a track that you and Doug Kobe have had quite a bit of success at. But have you guys, yourself included, most notably, had a chance to really get any notes, inside info that gives you somewhat of a good preparation and an advantage heading into Oswego this upcoming weekend?
Yeah, a little bit. As far as the length of the track is concerned, between that and Thompson, it's probably the only similarity. We feel, it should be a lot more like Stafford, it seems. I've watched some video online. I know my crew chief is good friends from back when he used to help Chucky Hosfeld back in years ago, and we reached out to Chucky for some advice and some setup ideas and just things to look for. So I'm going to say it's going to be more like a Stafford race than anything else. We'll see when we get there. I've tried to watch as many videos and onboard cameras as I could. And from there, you need to pick the place up quickly in practice. We only get an hour and a half, so we'll have to do whatever we can to get up to speed quickly. And, I feel like, if anything, that's one of my stronger suits when we go to newer places, that I can adapt quickly, and we usually run pretty good. So hopefully that holds true for this weekend. And then, Seekonk next week, I've been to now for a few years, run really good there with Art Barry's car. So I'm hoping, that we can translate the setup from that car over to this car and have very good success as well.
And then it's off to some familiar racetracks at New Hampshire, Stafford, and Thompson to wrap up the 2016 campaign. You mentioned a little bit ago the traction treatment. They use it at Riverhead Raceway, and that's something that we mentioned during our broadcast of the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series race at the Bristol Motor Speedway 2 weeks ago, because Bristol also used it for the first time. Bristol on the inside groove, Riverhead on the outside groove. Did you notice much of a difference at Bristol using the bottom of the racetrack? And is this something that maybe other tracks could or should look into down the road?
Yeah, I definitely think it's something that could be used at some of these racetracks that are single groove and tough to pass on. Riverhead's a perfect place for it. I've watched some weekly racing there, and it's definitely improved it. Makes it a 2-groove track. As far as Bristol's concerned, I wish they wouldn't do it as for the modified race. We're not the typical, cup or truck, where we need to have one groove racing on the bottom. Our average speed around there is just is so crazy, and it's all corner speed. So the fact that they only made the corner speed faster and then they made it pretty much a single groove racetrack, it made it really hard to pass, and it's just ludicrous speed. I mean, our cars really, they probably aren't built and intended to run at places like that. And then they went ahead and made it about a half a second quicker, and that speed was pretty constant. We really didn't have the fall off that you usually see. So I prefer personally the multi-group Bristol. I think the racing for the modifieds is better. We can kind of widen our groove out. The pace slows down, and you see 2 and 3 group racing. But I understood what they were trying to do with that, and watching the other races for the rest of the weekend, it definitely seemed to improve that. And I think maybe they can work on it a little even more for those series to make it even better.
As we mentioned earlier, cutting that points lead by Doug Coby back down to 13. Very attainable championship this weekend, or this year, but obviously a lot of work to be done in the 5 races to go. Is it more beneficial to go to a track like an Oswego that you've never been to before, that pretty much dominates your thought process on, okay, this is a track I haven't been to before. We need to gather notes. We need to concentrate on making this the best run we have since we've never been here before. Does that help take you away from any thought process of that points battle and just totally focus on getting your notes right for Oswego and just putting everything out of your mind?
Yeah, I'm going to say yes and no. I mean, it's definitely, I've been down this championship hunt before in 2014, so I kind of have an idea. It was against Doug, so there's a lot of similarities in that sense. This year we're the chaser. We're still trying to hunt him down. It's been a couple weeks in a row now that we've had really good cars. So I'm trying not to really think about the whole points thing just yet. We got a lot of racing to go before we can worry about that. At the same time, it's still in the back of your mind that you stress it a little bit. So, but Oswego being late in the season, a new track, it's like a lot of what ifs. This whole week of wondering, are we going to be fast? Are we going to come off the truck really good? Or are we going to, am I going to like the place? It's just a lot to process, and I guess at the same time it takes your mind away from the whole points thing. So I don't know if I answered your question, but hopefully it's just a good weekend for us overall.
I bet you could answer this one, though. When it comes to processing things, and we touched on it a moment ago, your 100th career run in the modified tour. You're getting old. You're only 28, but you got 100 races already under your belt. But you go back to a 2011 title at the track that you've run at locally. This was your 10th career win. Do you get a chance to sit back a little bit, or have you since then, and just focus on what you've achieved? I mean, 100 races on this tour. You've run for different team owners. You found your niche with this team right now, but a lot of success in the last several years in the modifieds, not only locally at Riverhead, but also on the tour as well.
Yeah, actually, all my starts besides 2 with when I had my family car before I raced full time were with them 3, so that's pretty special. Ken will hit his 100th start here in 2 weeks, so I guess it's Econ. It's definitely really special. I really didn't put too much thought into it at all, and then I come back from the autograph session, and a couple of the girls on the team had put together a banner and some balloons and all types of stuff, and some cakes and different things celebrating 100. So that was really hit me. And we took a nice group photo, and it was really cool. I try not to put too much thought into stuff like that, just because I don't like the attention brought onto myself. But I was really appreciative of that, and then it was really big honor to win in my 100th start as well. So and being at home, at Riverhead makes it that much sweeter. So we got a nice round number on the win percentage right now, 10%. So hopefully we can just keep improving on that. And, but to top it off, we're looking for a championship at this point. It's been 7 years now. So we have to solidify ourselves with a championship, and hopefully this is the year we can do that.
No, 100 starts in the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series is only like 2.5,
That's true.
3 years. And in the modifieds, when you only get 14 or 16 opportunities a year to race, it is far longer. So, Justin, congratulations on the success of the last, 2 of the last 3 weeks. We'll forget about Bristol and hopefully give Coby a run for the championship. It's going to be fun to watch when it comes right down to the Thompson Speedway Motorsports Park, the World Series of Speedway Racing in October.
Yeah, without a doubt. I mean, more than anything, we want to win the championship, but we want to make it close and make it exciting for all the fans so they come out every week and watch these races. And as always, it's a pleasure being on. Hopefully we can keep winning so we can come back. All
right, Justin Bonsignore, the race winner this past Saturday night at the Riverhead Raceway, his 2nd win of the season, 10th of his career, and 4th at his home racetrack on Long Island. And I'm working on a deal where hopefully I can get to the World Series of Speedway Racing in October.
You will.
It's one of the greatest events in short track racing.
Yeah. And you know what? I mean, based on Doug's chink in the armor right there, and I mean, he's going to be tough. He is going to be tough to unseat. He does a great job. Timmy Salamito also closed the gap as well. He is 35 points back, and that's a lot too.
5 races to go.
But, there's a lot of races. And, again, 2 neutralizing races. namely this weekend in Oswego, and then also at Seekonk Speedway as you look at the rest of the points. And a call to Donnie Lee and Jimmy Blewett. Really, the rest of that top 10, if you look at it, it's been very impressive because Max Zackham's new this year. Eric Goodale's really stepped up his game, picking up the victory at Bristol. Ronnie Silk with a different team. Chase Dowling, fresh off a rookie season. And Matt Swanson, the rookie. That's a good top 10.
Some new names and some of the old guard in there as well with Doug Kobe and Donnie Leah and Jimmy Blewett. All have been around a while. Going to be fun to watch, and as obviously these drivers want to finish among the top 10 in points, and if you're in the top 5, you're eyeing that number 1 spot 5 races from now. Speaking of championship battles, a classic championship battle this past weekend came to a conclusion at the Kingsport Speedway in Kingsport, Tennessee, and the champion, Ronnie McCarty, for the second straight year, will join us after the break.
Coming back with more of NASCAR Coast to Coast, it's Kyle Rickey and Buddy Long right after this.
O'Reilly. It's O'Rewards Member Appreciation Month at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Improve visibility and save $6 instantly on a pair of Bosch Excel Plus wiper blades and earn double points. Ensure clear vision in any weather with Bosch Excel Plus wiper blades at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Better parts, better prices every day. Limit supply. See store for details.
O'Reilly Auto Parts. From work life to nightlife, from home to the road, your day can take you anywhere. These fast-paced times call for Wrangler Advanced Comfort jeans. Advanced Comfort is designed to keep up with you, no matter where you go or what you're doing. They're made with 20% stronger denim and 4-way flex technology that moves with you. Wrangler Advanced Comfort. Go anywhere, look great, and be comfortable. Wrangler Advanced Comfort jeans. Try on a pair today.
There's a place where time stands still, but the clock always ticks. A place where the roots begin.
The heartland of stock car racing.
But the tree is still growing.
Green flag. It is out. Joey Logano on the...
It's Martinsville Speedway.
Yes.
NASCAR Sprint Cup Series races back to the Half Mile of Mayhem October 30 for the Goodies Fast Relief 500. Tickets are on sale now. Call 877-RACE-TICK or visit martinsvillespeedway.com to purchase yours.
This is NASCAR Coast to Coast on MRN.com. Here's Kyle and Buddy.
NASCAR Whelen All-American Series tracks beginning to wrap up their 2016 campaign already. Hard to believe it is Labor Day weekend already, and Kingsport Speedway wrapped up their season this past weekend with double features, and the race winner, the final event of the year, was Ronnie McCarty, and probably a good thing because he was able to pick up the championship by 4 points over Zeke Shell in one of the tightest track battles that we have come across in the NASCAR Whelen All-American Series this season. Ronnie McCarty joins us now on the guest line. Ronnie, welcome back to NASCAR Coast to Coast, and for the second straight year, we're talking to you as a track champion. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Tough battle, as Kyle alluded to. I mean, you had three guys that were really on your back the entire season. Maybe not the entire year, but for the better part of it. I mean, what was the key in being able to secure that second championship with so many drivers at a hornet's nest right behind you?
Well, I just tried not to think about it, honestly. Just went out there and drove my race and didn't think about them and let the cards fall as they did. And it worked out for us this year. I didn't want to get out there and get stressed out with it or think about it too much and end up messing up trying to overthink it. So I just went out there and done the best I could every week, and it turned out great for us this year.
How is championship night different this year, going in and leaving, than it was a year ago? Last year, you won the title over Wayne Hale by a whopping 38 points, which is still close at most short tracks, but not when you look at this year's championship battle where the top 4 were within 22 points, leaving last weekend's final event.
Well, that the year before, we just got lucky. We got lucky a lot, and there was a few times that we had a few more wins. And a couple guys didn't come back that was, up there close to us. So we ended up, I'm not saying it was all luck. I mean, we did it. But we got a big lead there, and then everybody started worrying about us there near the end. But we're just too far away from them.
How hard was it, being that you were involved in one of the tightest points battles of all the NASCAR Wheel and All-American Series short tracks, to go to the track each and every week and not focus on the points? Or was it too much all around you when you looked at the other three competitors?
Well, honestly, that was the whole thing this year, was we was not going to points race. We was not going to points race. And it wasn't until the last 3 or 4 races when we actually really got up there in the points, and then actually took the lead there a couple weeks before the end, I think. So all year we didn't think about them a whole lot, because that's not what we was going to do. That's what the whole team decided at the beginning of the year, was we was not going to points race. And then it came down to the last 3 or 4 races there, and we were right there in the mix of it, and we was like, well, I guess we're points racing.
I always hate to bring up points midway through the season to some of the drivers that are running for a championship, because they're not. A lot of them don't like to look at them, and you feel like you're jinxing them if you bring up the points. What were some of the hiccups for you at the start of the season? You had a second place, I believe, on opening night, which would be your best finish in the first 7 races before you finally got that win in mid-June. What was the cause of the slow start at the beginning of the year?
Well, we had some problems with mechanical problems. The rear end broke, or the axle would break, or the clutch went out. Just all kinds of little bitty, well, not little bitty issues, but just one right after the other there at the very beginning. So eventually we just started from scratch. We took it from the clutch back, put all new in it, and then finished the season out. And that's about when we started running good again.
For those that are not familiar with Kingsport Speedway, it is one of the few concrete short tracks in the U.S. There are several that are peppered throughout the country. Chemung Speedrome is another one that's a concrete track, but predominantly most of your short tracks that are paved or concrete ovals are predominantly asphalt ovals. You've had the ability to not only run at Kingsport, but part-time at Lonesome Pine, which is an asphalt facility. What do you prefer, and what are some of the differences from a preparation standpoint that you may have to go through between a concrete track and an asphalt facility?
Well, the biggest thing that we found out is tire wear. The asphalt tracks actually are harder on tires than concrete tracks, so you can run harder or longer on a concrete track. Like Kingsport, we don't try to save our tires any, because you can pretty much run as hard as you want from the beginning of the race to the end of the race. And lap times, they don't drop off a whole lot, maybe 2/10 from qualifying, maybe 3, depends on the heat. But at like Coburn's a bank track, it's a little different, but they'll drop off 5/10 up there sometimes.
You've been going to.
Go ahead.
I was going to say you've been going to Kingsport Speedway practically all your life. A former Legends champion there years ago. What initially attracted you to that racetrack, and just in motorsports in general?
Well, the motorsports in general, it's always been in the family. My papa, he had a car, he raced. He put my mother in it. My mother raced, and then my cousins and family all on the Ketron side, they all race up there too. It's just like a family thing there. We all enjoy it, and that's what we like to do for our spare time. Plus, it's just right around the corner there. We can all hear the racetrack from where we live if we're not there.
You kind of dabbled between both tracks, but primarily stayed at Kingsport Speedway this year. I think a season ago you were 34th in the Wheel and All-American Series standings, 6 victories. You're up to 23rd this year with 5 wins, but stayed primarily at Kingsport. But when the announcement came, I believe it was a couple of years ago, when Lonesome Pine came onto the scene as a Wheel and All-American Series short track, I had to believe that was a big boon to a lot of drivers at Kingsport that gave them that ability to possibly run for a Wheel and All-American Series national championship. Drivers like a Cress Van Dyke, who has been high up in the points, but yourself as well.
Yeah, it has. It really puts us in a position around here that we could actually make a good run for a national championship. It's just that mid-season lag kind of the car count goes down a little bit, and maybe it don't somewhere else. But that's the only reason I think we haven't got one around here yet. Because Wayne Hell and Chris Van Dyke, I think last year, they both was pretty high up there.
Both in the top 10, I believe, in the final championship standings a year ago in the NASCAR Whelen All-American Series Division I. Kingsport wrapped up their season. Lonesome Pine and Coburn, Virginia wraps up their season this coming weekend. You've only had, I believe, just one night of racing there this year for you at the beginning of the season. Will you go this weekend and wrap up the season with them?
We may. We haven't fully decided yet. It depends on work. We've been trying to get caught up from where we've been off so much for racing at Kingsport. We may head up there. I'll post it up here later on this week if we're going to make it or not.
Kingsport, as Kyle and I alluded to earlier, one of those tracks we try to catch when we're in Bristol, but unfortunately I think on Bristol weekend, and we're there to do the Wednesday night truck race. Kyle is there to do news all weekend. I think Kingsport may take that weekend off, but talk about the health of the track there. You mentioned that things kind of wane off a little bit, and they do in the middle of the latter part of the season. Finances run out for drivers, or things just change a little bit. School comes back into session, and priorities take over. But for the most part at Kingsport, which has been around for many years, what's the health of the track, not only on your side of the fence, but on the fan side as well? Are things good there?
I think they're great there. I mean, every time I look up in the stands are full, tier parking's full. They're doing a really great job promoting it and keeping it healthy, just getting new drivers in there, keeping it hyped up around the, like going down to different restaurants and doing like a race night at like Texas Roadhouse or something like that. I mean, they're doing a great job. I think they'll be around for years to come, too.
Short tracks that embrace the community.
Yes.
And we see that a lot down here up in the Northeast. I know one of the great dirt tracks, Lebanon Valley Speedway in New York, they do a great job of embracing the local community, and that's why they pack the place every weekend. And from some of the videos I've seen this year from Kingsport, they pack the racetrack every time they open up shop. How big is your race team, Ronnie? We talk to a lot of these NASCAR K&N drivers and modified drivers every week that have full-time crew guys and 4 or 5 guys that are just solely working on their car. When we go down to the late model world, such as your race team, what does your shop look like? What does your team look like that competes every weekend at Kingsport and Lonesome Pine?
Well, Mark Ketchrin is actually my mother, Gina McCarty's cousin. He actually is the crew chief, and he is a former racer. He's been with us since we started back racing, and he keeps the car through the week. And on race nights, we get 2 more guys, Kelly Hooper and Mike Floyd, and they come out and we feed them, and they're happy, we're happy, we race good, and that's where we leave it at. Just small. Just a few people.
When Kyle alluded to your schedule and the possibility of maybe going to Lonesome Pine this weekend if the work schedule allowed. Beyond that, for the balance of the year, I know Martinsville's got a big race in October that a lot of the late model guys go to. Is there anything else beyond Lonesome Pine or in the schedule between now and the end of the year that you guys are looking at, and are things looking pretty good for you guys for 17?
Well, we're actually thinking really hard about going to Martinsville. It's a 50-50 right now. That's a lot better than it has been in the past. So you might see us up there. We're definitely going to go up there and practice and see how we do and see if we're ready for something like that. And then maybe we'll race it. Who knows?
Sounds good. Look forward to it. One of the biggest races of the year as far as the late model world is concerned, coming up in a couple of weeks' time at the Martinsville Speedway in Virginia. Ronnie, as always, thank you for joining us here on NASCAR Coast to Coast, and congratulations on picking up that second track championship at Kingsport Speedway in a late model this past weekend. It was fun to watch that championship develop over the summer months.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Ronnie McCarty joining us here on NASCAR Coast to Coast. And coming up, another driver that made some history this past weekend, the first female Canadian winner here in the States. Hey, won a Motor Mile this past weekend, driving for Lee Pulliam. Amber Balcaen joins us after the break.
NASCAR Coast to Coast will be right back on MRN.com.
Whatever you drive, wherever you go, Hercules Tires will get you there, whether you're running on dirt or running a job. Our dependable, high-quality tires are the perfect fit for your needs. For unmatched value, selection, and warranty with industry-leading road hazard protection, there's only one choice: Hercules Tires. To learn more, visit HerculesTire.com or call 800-677-9535. Hercules Tires, right on our strength.
Is it true that you built the first Harley in a barn? That's a myth. It was a shed, not a barn. A Discovery Channel original. This is it. This is our venture. A motorized bicycle. We gotta be different. We gotta be tough. You know the name. Harley Davidson. Now hear the legend. What you saw here was only the beginning. What's it like? Like an explosion between your legs. Based on a true story. It'll be too loud, too dangerous. Nobody's gonna want to buy that. People will want it, trust me. Harley and the Davidsons, a 3-night television event starting Monday at 9 on Discovery.
I'm Steve Letarte for STP. As a former crew chief, I know about winning and what it takes to keep your engine performing at its best. That's why I recommend STP Ultra 5-in-1 Fuel System Cleaner. STP Ultra 5-in-1 Fuel System Cleaner is STP's most advanced fuel additive. It's been formulated to help remove harmful deposits from intake valves and restore fuel injector performance. For more than 60 years, STP products have proven themselves mile after mile. Take it from me, if you want to go with a winner, go with STP. In for the long haul.
This is NASCAR K&N Pro East Series driver J.A. Jr., and you're listening to NASCAR Coast to Coast on MRN.com. Now back to you, Kyle and Buddy.
J.A. Jr. and the rest of his Rev Racing teammates back in action this coming Monday at the Greenville Pickens Speedway, the next stop, the NASCAR K&N Pro Series East down in South Carolina. Joining us now on the hotline, Amber Balcaen, the big winner this past weekend at Motor Mile in the limited late model division, her first win of her rookie season. And Amber, first off, thanks for joining us. I know it has been a very busy week for you. You're back home up in Canada, and it seems like, according to your social media, they've been keeping you pretty busy up there.
Yes, they have. Winnipeg has welcomed me and supported me so much since my win. It's been really, really cool to see, especially because Canada and Winnipeg in particular doesn't really know a lot about racing, and motorsports isn't that popular down here. So for them to gravitate towards this story and really kind of blew me up all over the city, it's been really, really cool. Really cool.
So you made people forget the Winnipeg Blue Bombers real quick in the Canadian Football League, didn't you? They're mad because you're taking their thunder, right?
I guess so, but from what I've heard, the Blue Bombers have actually been doing pretty good. I guess I just have to be thankful it's not hockey season, because everyone loves the Jets, so that would be hard competition to compete with the Jets.
But they're all focusing on NASCAR this week, and your success down here in the States at Motor Mile. Bring us back to Saturday night, and I know you were coming off a second-place finish a couple of weeks ago. We caught up at Bristol 2 weeks ago, and you were still excited about that second-place finish. But what did it feel like on Saturday night, finally getting to victory lane?
This win couldn't come soon enough. I know I have a great race car and a great team behind me with Lee Pulliam Performance, and I knew it was just a matter of time before I was going to be in victory lane. I was improving every week, but it still didn't come soon enough. Like you said, couple weeks before my win this past weekend, I finished second place, but it was actually a very disappointing second place because I led over almost half the race, and not only did I lead, but I had a good 5-second lead over second, and I really thought that was my night. I really thought I was going to win that. Yeah, I even had other spotters congratulating my spotter 15 laps into the race because, we all thought I was going to win, but unfortunately I lost it on a restart and just couldn't grab the lead back. So to be able to come back the next week and have that redemption and not only start on the pole, but started third and passed for second and passed for first, and put the car in victory lane at the end of the night. It was pretty cool.
You mentioned Lee Pulliam a few moments ago of Lee Pulliam Motorsports, our defending NASCAR Wheel and All-American Series national champion, who has developed a very good track record with attaining very talented young female drivers, Julia Landauer, obviously, and what she's done in the K&N Pro Series West this year. What led to the relationship between you and Lee getting together and having you come from Winnipeg on the dirt over to a limited sportsman class in the mountains of Virginia?
Yeah, so I come from a dirt track racing family, so I've pretty much learn everything I know from dirt through my family. But when it came to NASCAR pavement racing, it was a whole new industry to me. So I really had to learn on my own and do my research, and that's what I did. I researched all the teams. I knew that I needed to be on the East Coast in the late model division to really get noticed and compete against good, solid, competitive drivers. There's so many good drivers on the East Coast, and you're only as good as your competition. So I looked at some East Coast teams and talked quite a bit with quite a few, and Lee Pulliam Performance just felt right, and I'm very, very happy I made the decision to go with Lee Pulliam and his crew. My spotter and crew chief Chris Crosby is the one that talked me through the last 10 laps of the win and kept me calm because I was getting pretty excited and pretty nervous.
So to bounce off of Buddy's question, we know how you got hooked up with Lee Pulliam Performance. Why make the transition from dirt to asphalt? How did that decision come about?
I love dirt track racing, and I love racing a sprint car and hope to get back into a sprint car soon. But I want to make my racing a career, and for me, I love new challenges, and pavement was a new challenge. It was something different, something new, and something that I could, potentially have a bright future in, especially if, I could pull off some wins. So for me, I mean, I went to school, I went to business, went to college, got my business degree and everything, and there's nothing else I wanted to do but race cars. So I decided that I was going to try and make my racing a career, and NASCAR seemed like the perfect fit.
Is there a checklist, and have you pretty much accomplished what you wanted to do at this juncture? Moving here to run the Limited Sportsman's at Motor Mile Speedway, collecting a victory. Is there a checkoff list of what could be next, or may we see you back here in Limited Sportsman action one more year at Motor Mile?
I mean, as a race car driver, I think you always want to win more and do more. And once you reach one goal, you just want to set another. Once you reach one goal, you just want to set another and hope to achieve that one. And for me, going forward, I'd love to kind of follow in Julia's steps, and but maybe run in the NASCAR K&N East as well as some ARCA races. I think ARCA is also a good platform to help you get on those bigger tracks and get some seat time. For me, it's going to be all about seat time. So the more that I can be in a race car next year and this year, at the end of this year too, I think the better. So I hope to be doing combination of the late models, ARCA, and K&N, but obviously it's all dependent on finances, and I was able to get the sponsorship to do this year, but still I'm looking for sponsorship for next year to be able to get to those next steps in NASCAR.
And hopefully this last week will help you toward those goals for next season. Third in the championship points right now, still one event to go. A second-place effort 2 weeks ago, a win this past week. How would you kind of grade the season up at Motor Mile for you and adapting to the asphalt? When you look at the big picture right now, look at your stats, one finish outside of the top 5. It doesn't get much better than that for a rookie season.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a pretty good season, but I had really high expectations of myself going into the season just because I know I'm with a great team and got, great crew chief and great race cars. So I had really high expectations, but I do have to kind of be realistic in knowing that I didn't really have any pavement experience before this year. So I think I'm locked in for Rookie of the Year. And like you said, top 5 in every race. The only race I didn't get a top 5 is when I had a DNF. I got taken out on the last lap. So win was definitely on the checklist. I hope to go back this next weekend on September 10th and get another win and make that 2 wins to close out the season. I'm
sure Lee has been a tremendous influence to you as far as developing you in your career on the asphalt path. And you do have a relationship with Hannah Newhouse. I think when we had her on the show a month or so ago, I think she was having dinner with you that night. Mm-hmm. So you've had some good relationships with other female drivers. Have you had the opportunity to pluck Julia's brain a little bit, going through what she went through one season prior?
Julia's one of the few female drivers that I have yet to meet, but I would love to. I mean, I follow her on social media and see what she does, and she seems to be like a great ambassador for females in the sport. Very talented, obviously, and smart, driven. There's a lot of things in her that I look up to and I admire. And going back to Hannah Newhouse, I mean, the amount of other female drivers that I've met in the NASCAR industry and how supportive they are with me and I am with them, and each other. Like, for example, one of the deckers raced the Xfinity race, and, we're congratulating each other, and I think that females kind of have enough toughness in this sport, and for us to be able to stick together and really cheer each other on, and instead of bringing each other down, I think is very important. And this last year, I think all of us females have gotten a lot better at bringing each other up, and I think that's really cool.
You mentioned Paige Decker ran the Xfinity race last weekend at Road America, driving for Obaika Racing, and hopefully we'll see more of her and her sister Claire and Natalie, her cousin. There's a whole bunch of Deckers out there racing.
They're the deck stack, whatever.
Triple Decker. You said you came from a dirt track family. Another ding for Buddy.
Well, you got the first one. I'm sorry.
You said you came from a dirt track family. Do you remember that moment where you said you remember, I want to drive a race car?
I don't remember that moment because it was probably like the first couple words that came out of my mouth. I was that young. I mean, my grandpa raced sprint cars, and so my mom grew up in a racing family. My dad still races dirt late models. So I have racing on both sides of the family, and I was at the racetrack in my mom's belly, and then I think I was 2 days old when I went to the racetrack. So it's all I know. It's all I've ever known, and my love and passion for racing just keeps growing that much more. And it's really been a platform for me to be able to inspire other females or other people in general just to go after their dreams. And I think that's why Winnipeg, the city I'm from, gravitated towards this story so much. I don't think it's so much about winning a NASCAR race, but so much as going after your dreams, even if they seemed pretty crazy and big, but then being able to work hard and achieve those dreams.
All right, my last question is a question of geography. We're begging for fall here. It's still low 90s and humidity here in Charlotte. Tell me it's getting nicer up in Winnipeg because we're headed to Canadian Tire Motorsport Park in Toronto. We want to see fall. Do we have cooler weather coming?
Well, I think it's cool here. My friends were already making fun of me, saying that I'm just used to the hot and humid North Carolina weather already. But in the nighttime, it gets cooler. It's still, I'd say, in the 70s during the day. But Canadian Tire Motorsports Park, I've never been there, but I think that'll be an exciting race for sure.
I'll take the 70s this week.
I will too.
That's going to feel amazing. That's time is short for us with Amber Balcaen. I got to ask you though, car karaoke, has that been the highlight of the week so far? I saw the video on your social media platforms.
That was so much fun. I've been blessed enough to do so much cool stuff, so much fun stuff in these last few days, and I think that was definitely up there on the list. There's also this one radio station called Virgin Radio, and they have a morning program, and the morning program, the host is named East Burpee, and I've been listening to him since I was in elementary school, going to school. So to be on his radio show, he's like the coolest, funniest guy ever. So that was another highlight of my week so far. And of course, being on MRN.
There we go. I was waiting for it.
Coast to coast.
And she gets a ding to wrap things up. Amber, it was good seeing you at Bristol Motor Speedway a couple of weeks ago, and even better to see that you finally got to victory lane in your rookie year this past weekend at Motor Mile. Best of luck to you when you get back on track next week at the season finale there.
Awesome. Thanks so much, guys, for having me on the show. I really appreciate it. Thank you for welcoming me into the NASCAR world.
Yeah, we welcome you aboard. Amber Balcaen joining us, one to watch for the future.
Absolutely. We've got some tremendous females out there that are doing good jobs, even if they're not running in the mainstream of our NASCAR Wheel and All-American short tracks or touring series. There are some other ones that are doing very well, which we'll see in that light again. So the future's bright for the female side.
Absolutely. When we come back, we're going to check the NASCAR Wheel and All-American Series Division I standings and preview the upcoming weekend after the break.
Coming back with more of NASCAR Coast to Coast, it's Kyle Rickey and Buddy Long right after this.
It's O'Rewards Member Appreciation Month at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Stop in today and check out store-wide savings plus earn double points on over 225 items. It's our way of saying thank you. If you're not already a member, sign up today during O'Rewards Member Appreciation Month. It's fast, easy, and free. O'Reilly Auto Parts. Better prices every day.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
The Toyota racing team was born out of true American tradition. We've racked up 332 NASCAR wins. That's a whole lot of victory laps. Just last year, Toyota racing driver Kyle Busch took home the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series championship. We even have Toyota drivers racing Tundras in the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series. But winning isn't our only tradition. Toyota has been in North America for almost 60 years. We have 10 Toyota assembly plants scattered throughout the United States. Those plants produce 9 of our models right here, including the Camry, Tacoma, and Tundra. In 2014, a total of 1.3 million Toyota vehicles were assembled here in America. That's a lot of cars. The production of all those vehicles has created thousands of American jobs. That's a lot of opportunities. Opportunities that we'd like to keep going for years to come. So let's go, America. Let's go, NASCAR. Let's go places. Head on over to toyotaracing.com to find more info on our drivers. NASCAR is a registered trademark of the National Association for Stock Car Auto Racing, Inc.
This is NASCAR Wheeling Southern Modified driver Jason Myers, and you're listening to NASCAR Coast to Coast on MRN.com. Now back to Kyle and Buddy.
No change in the Division I national standings for the NASCAR Wheeling All-American Series. Still 1 point between Matt Bowling and Keith Rocco. 29 back to Ty Majeski. 37 back to Trevor Huddleston. And Lee Pulliam, 47 points back. Just a couple of weeks to go as we get set to crown another national champion under the NASCAR Wheeling All-American Series banner.
Yeah, and Ty Majeski was the big mover. He moved up 7 spots up to that 3rd position. He's doing very well in the Midwest. Speaking of Matt Bowling, he was 4th over the weekend at the South Boston Speedway in their 100-lap event. Austin Thaxton was the winner. Bowling leads Peyton Sellers by 75 points with Twin 75s coming up this weekend.
A couple of track championships this past weekend in Michigan. Kalamazoo Speedway, Brandon Lyons won the season finale for the Outlaw Super Late Models, the final regular season event. Mark Shook was able to capture his first track championship by 106 points over Rick Seneker. Also at Berlin Raceway, Ryan Ham picked up the final season regular season win in the modified class, while Dave Lake, a car owned by our very own Jeff Striegel here at the Motor Racing Network, picked up the track championship. And Streaky gets a ding.
Jimmy Zacharias, the winner of the Sunoco Mods at Chemung Speedrome. We mentioned that's another one of our concrete race tracks out there. 6th victory of the year. Their final event coming up this weekend for the Sunoco Mods. TJ Zacharias has a 53-point lead over Jimmy. And on the other side, at Spencer Speedway in New York, they also have their final event this weekend. Tommy Catalano scored his 2nd straight win. Kevin Timmerman has a 9-point lead over Mike leading the battle for the championship.
Those are just 2 of 7 racetracks that'll have their season finales this weekend. Colorado National Speedway in Tacoma, Colorado. Brett Gackey picked up the late model feature win again. He has a 45-point lead over Michael Valentine. They have 1 event to go, and that is set for Saturday, September 24th.
And in the guess what category, Utica Rome got rained out for the 9th time.
Unbelievable.
Yes, it is raining up there. I feel the lightning and thunder right now. Matt Shepard with a 12-point lead over Larry White. It's raining in here. Their final points night, they do have other races going, but their final points night coming up this Sunday. So Matt Shepard looking for that title.
Connecticut stayed dry last weekend. Rowan Pennick held off Ted Christopher to claim the SK Modified win. Tommy Fern picked up his 50th career late model win at the Stafford Motor Speedway. In the Modified Championship standings, Pennick leads by 50 over Christopher. They still have 4 races to go. Diego Monahan won at Waterford, and Ryan Priest swept the night at Thompson last Wednesday.
Vince Quenville and Jason Durgan took the twin races for Sportsman Mods at Devil's Bowl Speedway. Right now, that's a very tight point battle. Ding, give me a ding. Durgan leads Quenville in that battle. Very tight. It's down to single digits. Bobby Hackle won the dirt modifieds there. Another track that's been hampered by rain, but they finally got a race in.
Tom Scully won in Pro Stocks, and Austin Blaze won in the late models at the Seekonk Speedway in Massachusetts. They have 4 point nights remaining, including this Saturday night.
Adam Pescick taking the late model win at Rockford Speedway over Wayne Freeman and Michael Bilderback. Night of Champions coming up September 10th. Bilderback leads John Reynolds Jr. by 67 points.
Did you hit on Las Vegas yet?
No.
Because they ran for the first time since July this past weekend. Justin Johnson picked up the Super Late Model win. Matt Larson won in Super Stocks. There you have this weekend off. They'll be back in action on September 10th.
So if you missed it, Lima Land has Tony Anderson and UMP Mods. Burt Myers, our Bowman Great Champ. Ronnie McCarty at Kingsport. I believe A.J. Dimmel has wrapped up the Cedar Lake Speedway Championship. I do not see late models any on the schedule for the balance of the year. I don't want to prematurely give them the championship, but it looks that way. And as you mentioned, Kalamazoo and Berlin wrapped up their titles.
And La Crosse Speedway, I think they have one event left, but I'm not sure if Oktoberfest is a championship
That's what
event.
I questioned, too.
Championships this weekend, South Boston, Lonesome Pine, Madison, and I-80. Want to thank Justin Bonsignore, Ryan McCarty, and Amber Balcaen for joining us. For Robbie Mays, Craig Moore, he's Buddy Long. I'm Kyle Rickey. We'll see you back here next week on NASCAR Coast to Coast.
This has been NASCAR Coast to Coast with MRN short track experts Kyle Rickey and Buddy Long. Tune in next Wednesday at noon at MRN.com for more talk from NASCAR home tracks and touring series. NASCAR Coast to Coast is also available on demand in the MRN.com Media Center or download from iTunes or Stitcher. NASCAR Coast to Coast is a production of the Motor Racing Network. All rights reserved.